glorious and free. O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. O Canada, we stand on guard for thee.
Let the doors be open, que l'on ouvre les portes. Merci beaucoup, Elisabeth, c'est bien gentil. Merci, madame. Statements by members. Déclaration de député. The honourable member from Kitchener Centre.
Mr. Speaker, while Indigenous people account for just 5% of the population, around half of those incarcerated in federal women's prisons are Indigenous, and my community is no exception. At Grand Valley Institution, the percentage of Indigenous incarcerated folks has even increased by 10% since 2020. It's what makes the work of incredible organizations centering reconciliation in their justice system all the more vital, including the healing of the 7 generations, whose bail, release, and supervision program helps folks break generational trauma and prevent recidivism, as well as community justice initiatives, whose STRIDE program helps incarcerated folks heal and build the community connections that help them be successful after release. My deep thanks to Donna, Kate, and their entire teams for the impact they're having.
The honourable member from Nepean.
Mr. Speaker, 2 weeks back, I could safely participate in a Hindu event in Edmonton only with the protection of RCMP officers, as a group of Khalistani protesters staged a disruptive demonstration against me. In Canada, we have long recognized and experienced the serious problem of Khalistani extremism. Let me be clear, the sanctity of Canadian sovereignty is sacrosanct, and any interference by foreign state actors within Canada in any form is unacceptable. Khalistani violent extremism is a Canadian problem, and RCMP has said the National Task Force is focused on investigating it. We know that extremism and terrorism don't recognize and are not limited to national borders. I call on our law enforcement agencies to take this issue with all the seriousness it demands. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
L'honorable député de Montmagny, Lilek, Kamouraska, Rivière-du-Loup.
Mr. Speaker, this week is Small and Medium Business Week in Canada. I'm an entrepreneur and very proud of the fact. Proud because I dedicated my life to doing what I like doing the most, which is paying it forward. Entrepreneurs volunteer their time and energies to help one another. One of our entrepreneurs is a person that helped create wealth, jobs, and community infrastructure by paying it forward and creating a better community around them. I salute the hard work of all these small business people who day after day work hard in a constantly changing world with businesses with fewer than 50 workers like mine. These businesses contribute to innovation and to all small businesses. Happy Small Business Week.
Mississauga, East Cooksville.
Mr. Speaker, I was heartbroken to hear that a dear friend and community member, Mario Nunes, passed away. For over 20 years, Mario was not just a friend, but a radiant example of joy, hard work, steadfast dedication to his family, friends, and our community. Mario was a devoted husband to Lisa, a loving father to Melissa, and a cherished grandfather to Daniel. Mario left behind a remarkable legacy in the masonry industry. When it came to getting a job done right, everyone turned to Mario for his unmatched professionalism. Mario's passion and commitment were a source of inspiration to all of us. He was always ready to lend a hand, share a kind word, whether it was capturing moments at Luso charity events, discussing ways to improve the lives of people with disabilities. Mario's spirit will forever remain in the hearts that he touched, and he will profoundly be missed. Rest in peace, my dear friend. Thank you.
L'honorable député de Lac-Saint-Jean.
The Honourable Member for Lac-Saint-Jean. Mr. Speaker, on this day, October 23rd, a leading figure in regional agriculture is stepping down from his post. After 8 years as president of the UPA in Saguenay-Lac-Saint-Jean, Mario Théberge, a dairy and grain farmer from Normandin, well known and respected by his peers, will leave his place to the next generation who are already ready to follow in his footsteps. Involved in farm unionism for over 30 years, Mario Théberge was elected regional president of the UPA in 2016. The time has come for him to go on his way and pass the torch. One thing's for sure, Mario will be remembered as a team player, a farmer who was deeply involved in his community, always ready to take on a challenge, a president who gave us confidence in the agricultural future of our beautiful region. It's with great pride and a sense of duty accomplished as he bids farewell to his colleagues and hands over the keys to the tractor today. Mario, good luck in your future endeavors, and we look forward to seeing you soon. But above all, thank you for everything.
L'honorable député de...
The Honourable Member for Saint-Léonard Saint-Michel. Mr. Speaker, I was honoured to attend the historic inauguration of Amazon Web Services' brand new Espace Voir Grand at the La Salle Centre in Saint-Michel. This space, which is a first in Canada and a world first in a French-speaking community, will provide our students, teachers, and community members unparalleled access to educational resources related to science, technology, engineering, the arts, and math.
Amazon Web Services and the Centre La Salien, new opportunities through this space will act as an incubator of innovation and will help create researchers and inventors of tomorrow.
I'm extremely proud that Canada's very first Espace Voir Grand is opening its doors in my riding of Saint-Léonard Saint-Michel, and I can't wait to see all that will be accomplished there.
The Honourable Member from Renfrew, Nipissing, Pembroke.
Mr. Speaker, I rise today to recognize the extraordinary achievement of Canadian Para-Olympian Jolene Wong, who proudly brought home a bronze medal from the 2024 Paris Paralympics. As a dedicated and resilient athlete, Jolene has become a symbol of strength and perseverance, both on and off the court. Jolene has inspired countless Canadians with her determination and dedication to sitting volleyball. Last Sunday, she was awarded the key to the city of Pembroke. Her remarkable achievement is not just a testament to her personal drive, but also a shining example of the power of sportsmanship. Jolene's victory in Paris is a victory for all Canadians who believe in pushing boundaries and celebrating excellence. We congratulate her for representing our country with such distinction and thank her for inspiring a new generation of athletes. Please join me in celebrating Jolene Wong and her teammates' accomplishments. Thank you. Jolene.
L'honorable député...
The Honourable Member for Ottawa-Vanier. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. It's with deep sadness that I rise today to pay tribute to Ethel Cote, who passed away on October 16th after a battle with cancer. Her family paid tribute to her, saying that her unwavering commitment to training, listening, supporting, and above all, inspiring everyone she met left an indelible mark on the lives she touched. A pioneer of the social economy and innovation, she founded many organizations, including Mécènes, and contributed to the training and development of nearly 1,000 community organizations. Founding CEO of La Nouvelle Scène and associate professor at the University of French Ontario, she was recognized for her cooperative and innovative approach and her commitment to a more just and caring society. Designated a UN champion of women's economic empowerment in 2015, she was also awarded the Order of Canada, the Order of Ontario, and the Order of the Pléiade, and a Sapphire Award in 2015. A beloved mother and grandmother, she leaves a huge void in the Franco-Ontarian community and far beyond. My sincere condolences to her family and loved ones. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
L'honorable député d'Outremont.
The Honourable Member for Outremont.
This morning, the Bank of Canada cut interest rates by 50 basis points, bringing interest rates down to just 3.75%, Mr. Speaker. That's good news for hardworking Canadians. It's going to help families who need to renew their mortgage. It's going to help young people wanting to go out and buy their first home. It's going to give some breathing room to folks who have debts and loans to repay, making things just a bit easier for them. Lower interest rates, it's good news for Canadian entrepreneurs, for businesses of all sizes, whether they have loans or they don't. And I must say, during Small Business Week, no less, it's great news for our small businesses. Now, I'm not saying that everything is perfect here. I know there are Canadians struggling with affordability. I know that there are global economic instability forces at play, but I also know that there is no better place to be than Canada right now.
That's right.
No better place than Canada. And today, things were made just a little bit easier and a little bit better for the good folks living here.
Here, here.
The honourable member from Barrie Springwater, Oro Medonte.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. After 9 years of this Prime Minister, taxes are up, costs are up, crime is up. Time is up. Just this week, Barrie Police arrested a repeat offender in possession of stolen goods only hours after being released on bail. In the past 2 weeks alone, this one offender has been charged with theft 6 times. M. Gao, a Barrie resident, recently wrote into Barrie Today to state that they have lived in Barrie since 1967 and no longer feel safe in our community. They do not feel safe going downtown by themselves anymore, especially after dark. This Prime Minister's catch-and-release bail policies have unleashed a wave of violent crime across the country. This Prime Minister boasts about banning the hunting rifles of law-abiding Canadians instead of targeting the gangsters and gun smugglers that are terrorizing our streets. The Toronto Police Association recently fact-checked the Prime Minister and pointed out that shootings are up 45% and gun-related homicides are up 62% in Toronto. Canadians deserve a common-sense Conservative government that will stop the crime and bring home safe streets.
The honourable member from Brampton North.
Today I stand before you with a profound sense of urgency and concern regarding the alarming revelations about foreign interference in our country. The RCMP's statement regarding the investigation into violent criminal activities linked to the government of India has brought light to a harsh reality that Sikh Canadians have long feared. As a member of Parliament representing a vibrant community of people from Sikh and Hindu backgrounds, I recognize the deep ties that bind Canada and India. Yet the chilling evidence presented by the RCMP reveals a betrayal of our shared values. It's unacceptable that foreign agents would operate with impunity on our soil, terrorizing communities and threatening our safety. We have seen extortion, arson, threats, and even loss of life, instilling fear in the South Asian community with the particular targeting of Sikh Canadians. This is unacceptable. Every Canadian deserves to live with safety, free from intimidation and violence, regardless of their beliefs or heritage. Our government has taken significant steps to confront these threats, but we must also stand united as a community, Sikhs and Hindus alike. We cannot allow fear to divide us. We must support one another and advocate for justice, accountability, and the protection of our rights.
The honourable member from Niagara Falls.
Speaker, after 9 years of this NDP Liberal coalition, taxes are up, costs are up, crime is up, and time is up. Speaker, you have ruled this government has violated a House order to turn over evidence to the RCMP into their latest $400 million green slush fund scandal. The NDP Liberal government's refusal to respect your ruling has paralyzed Parliament, pushing aside all other work to address the doubling of housing costs, food inflation, and the crime and chaos that we see in our streets due to their policies. While Liberal appointees at the SDTC were enriching themselves and their companies with nearly $400 million of Canadians' hard-earned tax dollars, 1 in 7 people in my community of Niagara Falls were visiting our food bank, Project Share, simply to get by. Will the NDP Liberals end their cover-up and provide the order documents to the police so Canadians can have the accountability they so rightly deserve?
Hear, hear.
The honourable member from Kenora.
Taxes are up, costs are up, crime is up, and time is up after 9 years of this NDP Liberal government. Carbon taxes are driving up the cost of all essentials, including gas, groceries, and home heating. Now, according to an article from the Salvation Army, the food bank in Kenora is challenged just to keep stock on their shelves with rising demand, plus food costs that are making it difficult for people to be able to afford to make donations, Mr. Speaker. In fact, the food bank has been forced to reduce the number of visits per month for each guessed, and this will only get worse if this costly coalition quadruples the carbon tax, which will cost Ontario families $1,400 per year in carbon tax alone. Plus, the Parliamentary Budget Officer has once again confirmed that Canadians pay more in the tax than they are getting back in rebates. Mr. Speaker, we know that this government and this carbon tax is not worth the cost, and Canadians want to know when they will have a chance for a carbon tax election so they can vote to axe the tax and bring home lower prices.
Yeah.
The honourable member from Coquitlam, Port Coquitlam.
Mr. Speaker, the recent announcement by the RCMP that agents of the Indian government are involved in serious criminal activity in Canada is deeply troubling. Such actions represent a clear violation of Canada's sovereignty and an attack on the safety of all Canadians, particularly those in the Sikh and South Asian community. We must stand united in condemning these actions in the strongest possible terms. Canada's sovereignty is non-negotiable, and we will not tolerate foreign interference or intimidation. I would like to thank the RCMP and all law enforcement agencies for their tireless efforts in uncovering these serious threats and taking decisive action to protect our communities. The safety of all Canadians, regardless of their heritage or political beliefs, must always be protected. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The honourable member from Nanaimo, Ladysmith.
Mr. Speaker, unhoused women, girls, and gender-diverse people who are unhoused are invisible in our country. Being without a home or being precariously housed can look different for women. Many find temporary shelter in their cars or on a friend's couch. To make matters worse, as the cost of living increases, more people are left out in the cold. To help, we need vital, person-centered wraparound services and housing. In Nanaimo Ladysmith, Island Crisis Care Society provides these vital supports. I'm so grateful for the incredible work they do, but they cannot do it alone. Life-saving supports are needed. Instead, we've seen federal cuts. The Reaching Home program was slashed a devastating 60% in Nanaimo this year. Many in our communities are doing all they can, but they need support. It is time to see the necessary federal investment and leadership now. Thank you, Mr.
Hear, hear.
Speaker.
Hear, hear.
The honourable member for Drummond. Mr. Speaker, I'd like to offer the Bloc Québécois' full solidarity to Marwa Rizki, member of the National Assembly for Saint Laurent. Ms. Rizki has had to seek police protection for her family. She's been the target of threats since she brought to light the Islamic excesses at Bedford School and the mistreatment of children. In particular, she's been targeted by Adil Sharkawi, an imam who would already be facing charges for previous hate speech were it not for the religious exception that is still in the criminal code. This House must understand there are consequences to letting people like him continue to spread their hate far and wide. We strongly condemn any intimidation of Ms. Rizki, as we do of all elected officials. Ms. Rizki, thank you for your unwavering commitment to children. Thank you for standing up for secularism and equality between men and women, between our sons and daughters. You deserve a safe and respectful end to your term of office before finally being able to devote yourself entirely to your family.
The honourable member from Dufferin-Caledon.
Gun crime up is 116%. The carbon tax will be up to 61 cents a litre. Groceries are up 45% since 2015. And after 9 years of this NDP Liberal government, even Liberal MPs agree taxes are up, costs are up, crime is up, and time's up for this unpopular Liberal Prime Minister. And apparently they confronted this Liberal Prime Minister this morning, but there was one small hitch. They had to get written approval to speak to the Prime Minister. Talk about freedom of speech. While these Liberals are busy fighting amongst themselves, Conservatives are focused on what's important to Canadians. Axe the tax, build the homes, fix the budget, and stop the crime. As Conservatives, we don't agree with virtually anything that they have done. They are destroying Canada. But what's become increasingly clear is a whole bunch of Liberal MPs agree with us. This Liberal Prime Minister isn't worth the cost, isn't worth the corruption, and it's time to go.
The honourable member from Mississauga East. My apologies. Brampton East.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. 4 out of the 5 leaders represented in this very chamber have either received their security clearance or are in the process of receiving their security clearance. There's only one party leader in this chamber that chooses to close his eyes and remain oblivious to foreign interference and continues to refuse to get a security clearance, and that is the leader of the Conservative Party of Canada. The Conservative leader across the way is hiding something. The question is, what is he hiding, and what exactly is stopping him from getting his clearance at a time when we are facing serious foreign interference in communities across Canada? Yesterday, a motion was presented in this House that calls for all party leaders to take necessary actions to protect Canadians from foreign interference, calls for all federal party leaders to get their appropriate security clearance in the next 30 days. And guess what, Mr. Speaker? Conservative members said no to this. When will the leader of the Conservative Party of Canada wake up, get his clearance, and start standing with Canadians against foreign interference?
Questions orales, oral questions.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition. Thank you. Thank you for your support, everyone. Mr. Speaker, after 9 years of this Prime Minister, more costs, crime, corruption, and now more chaos, with 24 Liberal members of Parliament who want the Prime Minister to step down, even when the Bloc wants to keep this PM in power. Even if Liberals don't have trust in this PM, will they trigger an election so we can repair what he has broken? The Right Honourable Prime Minister. Mr. Speaker, the Liberal team, just like the Liberal government,
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
I want to thank all members of this House for their rousing show of confidence. I have to say, the Liberal Party, as is the Liberal government, totally united on holding the Conservative Party to account for the fact that they want to cut programs, cut services, cut initiatives that will help Canadians grow the economy, keep inflation down, and make sure there's a strong, prosperous future for all Canadians. That's what we're focused on. While Conservatives focus on petty politics, we'll stay focused on delivering for Canadians.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition. That was a question in French, by the way, Mr. Speaker. 24 Liberal members recognize that this Prime Minister is not worth the cost, the crime, the corruption, and now the chaos. Finally, today, they needed to muzzle half of these members at the caucus, forcing some of them to go to the bathroom to send text messages to the journalists telling them what's going on at the caucus. The Liberal members know what Canadians have already knew, that the Prime Minister is not worth the cost, the crime, and the corruption. When will the elections be? The Right Honourable Prime Minister. Mr. Speaker, while the Conservatives are concerned with division and personal attacks, we're focused on the fact that we have to deliver for Canadians, deliver dental care for seniors, deliver more daycare spots, deliver investments in a greener economy and creating jobs for the future. The Conservatives are offering austerity and cuts. That's not what Canadians need. We need a government to be here to invest in their future, and that's exactly what we're doing, because confident governments invest in their citizens, and that's exactly why our economy is improving so much.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Mr. Speaker, after 9 years of this Prime Minister, costs are high. Housing costs have doubled. The national debt has doubled. Housing costs are out of control, and the Parliament is paralyzed with corruption that the Prime Minister is trying to hide from Canadians. And now there are at least 24 Liberal members of Parliament who are saying that the Prime Minister needs to resign. In addition, immigration is out of control. He cannot fix what he's broken while he's facing a rebellion. Can he trigger an election right now? The Right Honourable Prime Minister. Mr. Speaker, all Canadians clearly see that the Conservative leader is only offering cuts and austerity and empty slogans. They need solutions, and that's why we're putting forth solutions for dental care, investments in a green economy, investments to attract worldwide companies in fintech through electric vehicles, AI, and quantitative technology. We're going to be here to invest in the future of this company and focused on the future, while the Conservatives just want to bring us back to the Stone Age.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
After 9 years of this NDP Liberal Prime Minister, costs up, taxes up, crimes up, and according to 24 Liberal MPs, time is up. This Prime Minister has doubled housing costs, doubled the national debt, given us the worst economy in the G7. He's paralyzed Parliament with a cover-up of corruption, and 2 million people are lined up at food banks, but he cannot fix what he broke because his caucus is revolting. Will he call a carbon tax election today?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Speaker, while the Leader of the Opposition is focused on politics, we're focused on delivering for Canadians the things that matter most, whether it's more money in their pockets with the Canada Carbon Rebate, more places at $10 a day childcare right across the country, dental care for seniors and more Canadians of all ages as we move forward to deliver things that are easing pressures on the pocketbooks and building a strong economy for everyone. This is the work that we're doing, that we will continue to do. While the Leader of the Opposition tosses around empty slogans and plays politics, we'll stay focused on the things that matter to Canadians.
That's right.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
24 Liberal MPs went to his caucus today to tell him that he's not worth the crime, cost, or corruption. They wanted to tell him that he's doubled housing costs, doubled the national debt, sent 2 million people to the food banks, but he wouldn't let them. He silenced half of the dissidents. In fact, some were intimidated so much so that even Rosemary Barton, the Prime Minister's favorite journalist, said people don't have phones in the room and some people are going to the bathroom texting us. Mr. Speaker, will the Prime Minister text those dissident Liberal MPs, tell them to come out of the bathroom and tell the whole world that he's not worth the cost?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Speaker, in our caucus, people have always been free to speak their mind and have different perspectives. What is interesting, Mr. Speaker, is nobody in the Conservative caucus seems to have spoken out when one of their members got an all-expenses-paid trip to an extreme anti-abortion church in Florida. Nobody spoke out. Well, one of the members on their front bench went and dined with white nationalists, far-right German nationalists, and nobody spoke up and is continuing to speak up when their leader refuses to get a security clearance so he can deal with foreign interference.
The chair is, knowing that today is Wednesday, has been relatively tolerant of a lot of calls from both sides of the House. I'm going to ask members, please not take the floor until they are addressed by the Speaker, to do that so that we can hear the questions, we can hear the answers.
The Honourable Member for Belleuil-Chambly. Mr. Speaker, I think that it is more honourable to leave all the Liberal troubles to them, but I'll talk about another phenomena, intimidation corporal punishment and lack of confidence in science. Is the PM concerned that the situation at Bedford School in Montreal, because of religious intransigence, is concerning? The Right Honourable Prime Minister. Mr. Speaker, the Bloc leader knows full well that on this side of the House, we respect provincial jurisdiction with respect to education, but we're always going to be here to defend freedom of expression and to defend fundamental freedoms that all Canadians have rights to. And these are freedoms that ensure that we are a free, democratic, and open country with values that are always on the forefront. The Honourable Member for Belleuil-Chambly. Mr. Speaker, I understand that the Prime Minister has his thoughts somewhere else, but is he saying that forced religious education in a school and corporal punishment are freedom of expression of professors? The Right Honourable Prime Minister. No, Mr. Speaker, that's not at all what I've said. I have underscored that administration of schools is under provincial jurisdiction, and we expect the province to take care of its jurisdiction, but we're always going to defend fundamental freedoms of all Canadians, and that includes children who have a right to be educated in a way that reflects our values as Canadians and Quebecers.
The Honourable Member from Burnaby South.
I recognize that the Prime Minister is distracted, but there's a recent survey that's come out that shows that over half of Canadians are having a hard time with the cost of groceries. Now, too many in this chamber are more worried about themselves than kids going to sleep hungry in our country. Why has this Prime Minister refused to take action on painful food prices?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, we have taken action and will take more action. We move forward on increasing competition rules so that the Competition Bureau can go after people who are and companies that are gouging Canadians. At the same time as we're delivering more supports, whether it's with the National School Food Program that's putting more money in the pockets of families by giving them breaks on their groceries so kids can actually eat healthy foods at schools, or delivering a Canada carbon rebate. Unfortunately, that carbon rebate that puts more money in families' pockets has just seen the NDP pull their support from it, even though it's helping Canadians with affordability, and we will continue to be there to fight climate change.
Then I have the
Honourable Member for Burnaby South.
Have you ever been to a grocery store?
People are losing hope.
Order.
Order, please.
I'll invite the Honourable Member from Burnaby South to start from the top, and let me just encourage the Honourable Member and all Honourable Members to make sure that your questions and comments are directed through the Chair. The Honourable Member from Burnaby South.
Has the Prime Minister actually ever been to a grocery store?
People are losing hope. The Angus Reid study shows that over 40% of renters have given up on the dream of owning their own home. The Conservatives cut housing construction in Canada and let 800,000 affordable housing units disappear. The Liberals had 9 years. Why hasn't the Prime Minister repaired that damage? The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Both questions the leader of the NDP had. I've actually been to a grocery store with you, Mr. Speaker, in your riding a few years ago in Hull Elmer. And I've been to many grocery stores since.
In terms of housing, Mr. Speaker, we have created a program to invest in housing, affordable housing across our country, with more than $900 million for Quebec, and we continue to invest to ensure affordable housing. While the Conservative Party is just offering cuts in housing programs, we're going to continue to invest to help Canadians with affordable housing. I'd like to assure all members that, yes, the flame market is in my right. The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
The Prime Minister liked to go grocery shopping together, Mr. Speaker. And if you had, you would know that, of course, food prices have risen 36% faster in Canada than they did in the United States during the last 4 years, and that gap grew in line with the carbon tax. The leader of the NDP apparently likes to shop at Metro, for which his brother's company is the chief lobbyist. So maybe the leader of the NDP can tell us. 24 Liberal MPs have lost confidence in the Prime Minister. Will the leader of the NDP finally vote for a carbon tax election?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, there wasn't a question for the government in that, but let me reiterate that multiple analysts, economists, and the Parliamentary Budget Officer have indicated that lowering inflation has made it easier on Canadians, and the price on pollution that delivers the Canada carbon rebate to Canadians right across the country and puts more money in their pockets is actually helping Canadians with affordability. But if the Leader of the Opposition really wanted to help with affordability, he wouldn't have voted against dental care. Right. He wouldn't have voted against a national school food program that's saving hundreds of dollars a year to parents right across the country.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Mr. Speaker, even Liberal MPs know now, because their constituents keep telling them, that the carbon tax is driving up the cost of food. They wanted to go to caucus today and tell the Prime Minister that Canadians are literally starving, some eating out of dumpsters, because of the carbon tax. But he sent out his immigration minister to attack them, saying that they are, quote, garbage. What's garbage is the Prime Minister's record doubling housing costs, driving up food prices, and forcing people to eat out of dumpsters. Will he stop treating his own MPs and Canadians like garbage?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
I think the Leader of the Conservative Party shouldn't be bragging that none of his MPs have asked him to get a security clearance so that he can actually protect his party from foreign interference. That none of his MPs have spoken out. That having one of their members go down to Florida on an all-expenses-paid trip by an extreme anti-abortion church is just fine for all of their MPs. And that, quite frankly, none of them have any issue with a member on their front bench dining with a neo-Nazi. Mr. Speaker, I would hope some of his members in his caucus would speak up about some of the problems.
And I ask the Honourable Member from Wellington Halton Hills to please not speak out of turn repeatedly during this question. He's an honourable and very well-respected member. The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Mr. Speaker, the Prime Minister, who has a lifelong record of racist outbursts, is now coming unglued on the floor of the House of Commons. The question was about the 24 Liberal MPs in his caucus that are trying to speak out against his quadrupling of the carbon tax, not because they care about the cost of living of their constituents, but because they're worried they're going to lose the election. So if the Prime Minister is so confident in quadrupling the carbon tax, why won't he call a carbon tax election now?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, our price on pollution not only decreases emissions and helps fight climate change, but it grows the economy and investments, and it puts more money in the pockets of middle-class Canadians from coast to coast to coast. Indeed, Mr. Speaker, what we've seen from the Parliamentary Budget Officer is the Canada Carbon Rebate puts more money back in the pockets of Canadian families than it costs them in the federal price on pollution. And that is exactly what the Leader of the Opposition wants to cut. He wants to cut affordability for Canadians. He wants to cut the fight against climate change. That's not how you build a strong future.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Taxes and housing costs. Now, on that subject, the Prime Minister created a $4 billion so-called housing accelerator that gave hundreds of millions of dollars to big city politicians across the country. Toronto got the money, and construction went down 20%. Winnipeg got the money, construction went down 15%. Vancouver got the money, construction went down 19%. Ottawa got the money, construction went down 10%. Mr. Speaker, when I was the housing minister, we built 194,000 homes. Why won't he follow my common sense example?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
The member opposite was Stephen Harper's failed housing minister. He built 6 affordable housing units across the country. So we'll take no lessons from them on housing. They would rather pick fights rather than invest in the kinds of changes that are improving density and zoning, using public lands, accelerating red tape so that people can get more affordable housing built quicker right across the country. It takes actions and investments to build up this country. That's exactly what we're doing in responsible ways. All he's offering is fights with the provinces and municipalities and cuts to services Canadians rely on.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Mr. Speaker, he just accidentally told the truth. He said he's accelerating red tape. Well, he sure is doing that, but he's not accelerating his math lessons. He's always admitted that he's been bad with numbers. I have the documents from Stats Canada's website, that's part of his government, that shows that in 2015, there were 461,000 housing completions, and the average rent was only $973 for a one-bedroom, half of what it is today. Given that I delivered so many affordable homes, why won't the Prime Minister follow my common sense plan to build the homes, not the bureaucracy?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, it says something about the level of confidence the previous Prime Minister had in that member when Stephen Harper used to say the federal government has no responsibility around housing and then asks him to be their housing minister. That's perhaps why he delivered only 6 affordable homes over the course of their years in government. The reality is, Mr. Speaker, we have stepped up to invest in densification, in cutting red tape, in creating more housing starts right across the country, working with municipalities and provinces to solve this housing crisis, while all he offers is cuts and breaks to wealthy landlords.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Mr. Speaker, it is this Liberal Prime Minister that said a year ago that the federal government has no responsibility for housing. Of course, he said that after he had completed the doubling of housing costs. And then, speaking of housing ministers, he went on to point the guy who had lost track of 1 million people coming into the country, who had allowed a 300% increase in population growth against the warnings about housing from his own department. Tomorrow, the Prime Minister plans to reverse and swallow himself whole on immigration. Will he complete the job by firing his housing minister?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, we've continued to step up and invest in housing by working with provinces and municipalities right across the country, because of course we know that actions of previous governments of Conservative and Liberal stripes underinvested for many years in housing, which is why we're in the situation we're in, a situation not dissimilar to many advanced democracies around the world. That is exactly why we've stepped up to put money on the table for municipalities as they change their densification rules and zoning laws to accelerate the process of building housing and continue to solve this housing crisis that Canadians are facing from coast to coast to coast.
That's right.
The Honourable Member for Belley-Chambly. Sorry, I thought we had one other before me. The Prime Minister, Mr. Speaker, given the facts that were announced, does he not recognize Ottawa is trying to demolish Quebec's efforts with respect to its values and secularism? It's encouraging division, and it's even more concerning in schools. There's a desire to finance the challenge of Bill 21 on secularism at the Supreme Court, and it is a divisive and serious intrusion. The Right Honourable Prime Minister, Mr. Speaker, we are a government that will always defend the fundamental rights of Canadians, and it's a principle that guides us as a party and also as a country. Yes, we are very concerned by the issue of children who are experiencing suffering that is unacceptable in schools, and that is why we expect the Quebec government to look at this. At the same time, we're always going to defend fundamental freedoms of all Canadians. The Honourable Member for Belley-Chambly. This ambiguity is very concerning, Mr. Speaker. The Prime Minister should clearly confirm that regardless of the causes that seem to be justifying this violent and oppressive behavior, an indoctrination of children at schools, it should be condemned. And the attitude of this government, his multiculturalist obsession and a desire to challenge our secularism laws and other institutions that encourage this is an important danger. The Right Honourable Prime Minister, Mr. Speaker, I'll even be clearer. In terms of these children at this school, this is absolutely unacceptable. But using exceptional cases like this to attack Quebec's diversity and attack the various cultures that unite our country is also unacceptable, Mr. Speaker. We're always going to defend cultural diversity. We'll always defend well-being at home while we defend the rights and liberties of children every time. The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
The Prime Minister is admitting that his immigration policies have been totally incompetent. In fact, the ratio of new people to new homes reached its highest level in recorded history last year after his then immigration minister, now housing minister, ignored the warnings of his own department. According to a new Concordia University report, the rent is expected to rise to $7,500 in Vancouver and $5,500 in Toronto if the trajectory continues. Will he reverse course now?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, one of the great advantages of Canada in the world, and of Canadians in the world, is that we continue to be a country that understands that immigration is a source of opportunity and growth and richness for this country. One of the other great advantages we have is we have an immigration system that is able to adjust to different realities. In the years after the pandemic, there was a need for more temporary workers, there was a desire for more international students, and we let more in, working with the provinces and businesses across the country. As we see the situation shift, as the labor market shifts, we're making changes to the immigration system so that we can keep its support.
That's right.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Mr. Speaker, there's nothing compassionate about it. Inviting people without a place for them to live or health care for them to have or jobs that provide them with paychecks. He has destroyed our immigration system through his own personal incompetence and destroyed a 150-year common sense consensus between Liberals and Conservatives on that subject. He cannot fix what he broke on immigration, housing, or anything else because he's busy fighting his own caucus. Why won't he call a carbon tax election so that we can restore Canada's promise, where anyone who comes here and works hard can have a good life, a safe street, and a warm home?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, the work we are focused on is on the middle class and people working hard to join it, and we have delivered over these past years. And in these times of global strife and pressures, that is exactly what we are doubling down on investing in building homes, investing in strengthening our immigration system so that it can match the challenges we're in right now, in moving forward on putting more money in people's pockets, even as we create strong jobs and growth for the future. The Bank of Canada just really reduced interest rates because inflation is now down to low inflation once again. We are managing this country responsibly. We're continuing to invest in its future.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Mr. Speaker, Canada makes every single one of us a promise. If you work hard, you get a good life. That promise, like everything else after 9 years of this NDP Liberal Prime Minister, is broken. Now, he's broken countless promises, but this one is different. This wasn't his promise to break. It belonged to all of us. Now that he has destroyed the immigration, the housing market, the cost of living, will he call a carbon tax election so that we can bring home Canada's promise?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Once again, Mr. Speaker, we see the Leader of the Opposition pushing a brokenist vision of Canada that is simply not aligned with the reality. Yes, Canadians are struggling like people are all around the world after years of high inflation and disrupted supply chains and global conflicts has weighed heavily on everyone around the world. But Canadians continue to see opportunities. Canadians continue to see investments by a government that believes in them, whether it's investing in green jobs of the future or investing in programs and supports like dental and childcare that make a difference that the Conservatives continue to vote against.
That's right.
The Honourable Member for Burnaby South. Or do we have? Do you have any? No? Je m'excuse. I apologize to the Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Mr. Speaker, brokenist. It's not even a word. He's even breaking the English language. Oh, my goodness. So he broke the housing market by doubling the costs. He broke the cost of food by jacking up the carbon tax and increasing prices 36% faster than in the United States. He's broken our immigration system. He's breaking the bank with his doubling of the debt. Even his own caucus members think that everything is broken. Why don't we have a carbon tax election to decide?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
While the Leader of the Opposition is focused on exploiting the struggles of Canadians that are very real, he's not offering a single solution to support them. He's offering to take away the Canada carbon rebate that is putting more money in their pockets and fighting climate change successfully while it grows the economy. He's offering to cancel the dental care program that has helped close to 1 million Canadians already access dental care. He's planning on canceling the child care that has brought child care costs down to $10 a day in so many parts of the country and created spaces everywhere. He stands against the programs and supports for Canadians, while at the same time he says Canada's broken.
That's right.
The Honourable Member from Burnaby South.
The global community is shocked. This week, Israeli Minister Ben-Gvir called for Gaza to be emptied of Palestinians. He also called for expanding illegal settlements in Gaza. In fact, his colleague, Minister Smotrich, said that starving civilians is justified. Shameful. Enough is enough. What will it take for the Prime Minister to impose severe sanctions on Netanyahu and his extremist ministers?
Hear, hear.
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, the violence in the Middle East needs to end. It cannot continue to see civilians killed, innocents wiped out, communities destroyed. We need to make sure there is a ceasefire in Gaza and in Lebanon. We need to see the path once again towards a two-state solution where a peaceful Israel lives alongside a peaceful Palestinian state. That is Canada's position. That continues to be what we fight for every single day, to bring a global consensus together, to protect lives, to get humanitarian aid in, to release hostages, and to end this conflict once and for all.
I'm going to ask, again, all members, including the member from Hamilton Centre, not to speak out when he does not have the floor. The honourable member from Edmonton Strathcona.
That was an appalling answer, and the Prime Minister needs to sanction Ben-Gvir and Netanyahu. Hear, hear. Mr. Speaker, 650,000 Albertans don't have a family doctor. In Edmonton, hospital wards are 155% overstocked. But instead of addressing this crisis, Danielle Smith and the Alberta Conservatives are going to Uberize the problem. So enough is enough. Can you tell us, when will Albertans be able to deserve the health care? When will this government finally stand up for public health care in this country?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, I agree entirely that Conservative governments across this country have weakened our public health care system, and that is why we are continuing to demand investments in public health care, investments that will create more family doctors, that will reduce wait times. We've put money on the table for provinces willing to step up and actually deliver clear data and results to Canadians. We're going to continue to defend Canada's public health care system from those conservative ideologues and premiers and politicians who want to weaken our healthcare system and not deliver for Canadians.
That's right.
L'honorable député de London West.
Mr. Speaker, my constituents have been working hard to pay their bills as global inflation has driven up the cost of living. The Conservative Party hates it when Canada is actually succeeding, and they continue to gaslight Canadians into thinking that our country is broken. Even though our government has been providing relief to Canadians through dental care, $10 a day child care, free diabetes medication, and much more. Can the Prime Minister update all Canadians today's good news and set the record straight?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, I thank the member for London West for her question and for her hard work. Today, the Bank of Canada announced a big cut to interest rates by half a point, bringing interest rates down to 3.75%. Canada was the first G7 country to cut rates and is now the first to do so for a fourth time. All the Conservative leader has is his little performances because he knows that our responsible economic plan is working.
Right. L'honorable chef de l'opposition.
Après 9 ans de ce Premier ministre.
After 9 years of this Liberal government, the cost of housing in Quebec has skyrocketed. In the Saguenay-Lac-Saint-Jean region, the cost of a house has gone up by 76%. In Trois-Rivières, the cost has gone up by $190,000. And in Drummondville, the cost has gone up by $204,000. That's an increase of 124%. Meanwhile, what has the Prime Minister done? He has broken our system. He has printed billions and billions of dollars, and he's preventing new constructions. Will he do something about these policies? The Right Honourable Prime Minister. Mr. Speaker, the Conservative leader is using these challenges that are facing Quebecers and all Canadians to feed his own political career, but he's not offering any solution to the problem. That's why we have invested $900 million with the government of Quebec to speed up housing construction. We will continue to work with municipalities and the province of Quebec to ensure that there is more housing, rentals, homes, affordable housing. We will continue to work hard while he picks fights with the mayors of Quebec City and Montreal. The Honourable Leader of the Opposition. I have already published my common sense plan, which is to offer incentives to municipalities to issue permits, cut red tape, free up lots for construction, and to cut taxes for those who are building housing throughout the country, while also controlling population growth so that it's under the growth in housing supply. That is my common sense plan. Will the Prime Minister let Quebecers choose that common sense plan with an election? The Honourable Prime Minister, we all know that the Leader of the Opposition doesn't care about expert opinion, and it's pretty obvious why. All housing and economic experts have looked at his plan and have said very openly that it is gobbledygook. There is nothing in his plan that will do anything about the housing crisis. Once again, he has just offered empty slogans, not real solutions. Quebecers, like all Canadians, deserve a government that will continue to invest in housing, to invest in their future, instead of simply offering cuts and austerity, which is all that the Conservative leader knows. The Honourable Leader of the Opposition. Well, the real experts here are people who build housing. Quebec's Builders Association have stated that my plan is the best to get housing built. It will encourage construction. It will encourage municipalities to cut red tape. And on the other hand, we see the results of 9 years of this Liberal government, where the cost of housing has gone up more sharply than in any other G7 country. And it's the second worst in the 36 OECD countries. Will the Prime Minister finally adopt a common sense plan like ours? The Right Honourable Prime Minister. Mr. Speaker, this Conservative leader's approach has been to make personal attacks against the mayors of Montreal and Quebec City, insult the intelligence of Quebecers who have elected progressive municipal governments who are investing in affordable housing, who are investing in a better future. He is simply running around insulting people, trying to score political points. We work hard every day in partnership with municipalities and provinces to deliver concrete results. Housing, economic growth, results for everyone. The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Canada had to issue an emergency rate cut to salvage a collapsing economy, an economy that has fallen more in the last 5 years than any other G7 country. Our GDP per capita is smaller today than it was a decade ago, while the American has grown by 18%. The gap between the Canada and U.S. per person GDP is now at its worst in a century, leading to homelessness, helplessness, and hunger on the streets. Why won't the Prime Minister call a carbon tax election so that we can fix the economy he broke?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Every now and then, Mr. Speaker, despite all his efforts, we see a little edge of the tinfoil hat peeking out once again from the Leader of the Opposition as he continues his attacks on the Bank of Canada, on the independence of our financial institutions. The reality is, Mr. Speaker, we have worked hard as a government to bring down inflation so that the Bank of Canada can bring down interest rates faster than just about any other country of our peer countries around the world, because we know that bringing down interest rates is what's going to help Canadians, even as we continue to invest in programs like dental and pharmacare and childcare that the Conservatives are voting against and delivering for Canadians.
L'honorable député de Belleuil-Champ.
The Honourable Member for Belleuil-Chambly. Mr. Speaker, the Prime Minister has said that the Bedford school case is a mere isolated anecdote, but it's been going on for 7 years. It's very well documented that there are cases of harassment, bullying, religious indoctrination. Does the Prime Minister know that 3 other schools may be involved? And does he know that some parents are withdrawing their children from schools because they are worried? They are worried about religious indoctrination and children being discouraged from obeying Quebec law. The Right Honourable Prime Minister. Mr. Speaker, as a former teacher, I can vouch for the fact that it is essential to protect our children, to protect the values that we care about. For example, freedom. I am very concerned about the reports mentioned by the leader of the Bloc Québécois. And we all expect that the competent authorities, in this case the province, will quickly address the issue to protect children under their care. The Honourable Member for Belleuil-Chambly. Mr. Speaker, when Adil Sharkawi gets involved in a situation, we know that someone responsible needs to take over. Even though the Prime Minister is pretending to show respect for provincial jurisdiction, well, much good may it do him. Here we see that there has been federal intervention against our secularism legislation, which involves interfering with Quebec jurisdiction. The Bloc Québécois has stated that it should be impossible to spread hate speech on religious grounds. The Right Honourable Prime Minister, Mr. Speaker, we know that the government of Quebec needs to take up its responsibility in the area of education and protect kids. It needs to ensure that all fundamental freedoms are protected. That's what Quebecers and all Canadians expect as well from the federal government. And that is why we are taking action to protect basic freedoms while also expecting Quebec to do its job to protect children in its schools.
The opposition.
After 9 years, this NDP Liberal Prime Minister is not worth the human misery that Canadians are suffering. There are now 1,400 homeless encampments in Ontario alone. The City of Toronto admits that it's run out of homeless shelter space and will have to turn people out into the snow throughout the forthcoming winter. There's a Facebook group called the Dumpster Diving Network, and people are lined up in the rain for hours for rotten potatoes. Is this the Great Depression?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, we've all seen the cozy relationship that the Leader of the Opposition has with a number of Conservative premiers across the country. I would ask him to use his significant influence over those Conservative premiers to ask them to accept the money that the federal government is putting on the table to help with homeless encampments. A month ago, we asked each province and territory to partner with us to help find shelter for those living in encampments. Alberta, Ontario, and Saskatchewan have not yet formally responded to us to end encampments in their respective jurisdictions. I ask the Leader of the Opposition, if he cares about this indeed, to stop playing politics and start out.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
The problem with that blame game is that, in fact, the worst homeless encampments are in NDP-governed British Columbia. In fact, what the Prime Minister has done is take the radical socialist policies that led to those encampments and those massive overdose crises nationwide. Take, for example, the drug dens. The Prime Minister continues to push taxpayer-funded opioids on the population, which has led to 47,000 overdose deaths, more than died in the Second World War as Canadians. Will he reverse these policies?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
I just have to pause for a moment on the incredible irony of watching the Leader of the Opposition in this House accuse anyone of playing the blame game. He has made his entire career as leader and 20 years as a parliamentarian about playing the blame game. It's about time he started taking responsibility for the members of his caucus and take responsibility for putting forward solutions that will actually help Canadians instead of offering cuts and pointing fingers and empty slogans.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
The NDP Liberal government is acting like, quote, a drug lord. Those are the words of Masha Krupp, a mother who lost her daughter to an overdose. That daughter, Larissa, was given taxpayer-funded opioids. Now her son is addicted to the same government-provided drugs. This radical policy, which this Prime Minister pioneered and expanded with the help of the NDP, has taken thousands of lives. Will he stop acting like, quote, a drug lord and put the money into treatment and recovery?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, we're using all the tools at our disposal to save lives and keep communities safe for everyone. Meanwhile, Conservatives are choosing to use struggling people as political props to promote fear and spread misinformation. From the very beginning, we've been there to work on an evidence-based, compassionate and public safety approach. We have and always will be there to work with provinces and territories on approaches focused on saving lives and ending this crisis.
L'honorable député de Laval-les-Îles.
The Honourable Member for Laval-les-Îles. Mr. Speaker, the fight against foreign interference is a priority for our government and for Canadians. Canadians deserve leaders who will take all necessary measures to protect them. However, the Conservative leader is simply finding excuses to avoid his responsibilities. He is refusing to get his security clearance. Can the Prime Minister explain why it's important that the Conservative leader step up by getting his top secret clearance?
Le très honorable Premier ministre.
Je remercie le député de Laval.
The Right Honourable Prime Minister, I'd like to thank the member for this important question. It's a question that many Canadians are wondering about, and in fact, many Conservative MPs even are asking themselves this question. The Leader of the Opposition is trying to score points on the matter of foreign interference, and yet he is refusing to get his security clearance at a time when more than ever, all party leaders should take these threats seriously. He is not showing serious leadership. Canadians deserve better. What does the Conservative leader have to hide? Why does he not get his security clearance?
Order. I'm going to ask all members not to take the floor unless recognized by the Speaker. I've asked the honourable member from Wellington Halton Hills, who's a very respected member in this House, please not take the floor. Not take the floor. Unless recognized by the Speaker. That goes both ways. The honourable Leader of the Opposition.
After 9 years, this NDP Liberal Prime Minister is not worth the cost, crime, or corruption. We now know that his deficit this year will be $7 billion, or 20% bigger than his finance minister claimed in the budget only 6 months ago. Where's the money going? Well, we know that $400 million was directed by Liberal appointees to their own companies in what involved 186 conflicts of interest. Right. Now the Prime Minister has paralyzed Parliament for 2 weeks to cover it up and deny police the evidence. Will he hand it over to the cops so that we can put the bad guys in jail and get our money back?
Before I invite the Right Honourable Prime Minister to respond, I'm going to ask the Honourable Member from Timmins James Bay to please not take the floor unless recognized by the Speaker. The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, we just heard very impassioned and understandable outbursts from the member for Wellington Halton Hills, who is concerned about foreign interference and the impact. What is something that worries me is that he can't have confidence that his leader, the leader of the Conservative Party, is actually going to do the work to take foreign interference seriously and get the security clearance necessary to be able to protect the members of his caucus from foreign interference. Why is the leader of the Conservative Party not getting his security clearance?
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
because this Prime Minister will not gag me the way he's gagging his 24... He's turned our country into a playground for foreign interference. He's unleashed crime, chaos on our streets, and corruption inside our government. My question, which he's erratically trying to avoid, is why does he keep covering up the criminal evidence in a $400 million green slush fund scandal? Why?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, the Leader of the Opposition is about to get up one more time in this House to say some words. I recommend that at this point he choose those words to apply to explaining to Canadians why he will not get the necessary security clearance from our national intelligence agencies to be able to protect not just his party and their institutions and their members, but all Canadians. Any leader who wants to take national security seriously should be able to listen to the information that CSIS wants to share them instead of covering his ears and going la 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 like.
Order. Order. The Honourable Member from Wellington Halton Hills.
Mr. Speaker, I'll tell you the briefing the Leader of the Opposition will take. He'll take the same kind of briefing the Washington Post got on classified information from the National Security and Intelligence Advisor and the Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs. He'll take the same briefing that I got under Section 12.1 of the CSIS Act, threat reduction measures to reduce threats to the security of Canada. He'll take the same classified briefing that the Prime Minister has been all too willing to give to this House when it suits him, such as the classified information he revealed about Mr. Najjar's killing a year ago and other classified information revealed in the last several weeks about India. That's the kind of briefing the Leader of the Opposition will take.
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker.
Lakelands. The Honourable Member from Lakelands.
What about the Minister of Labour?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, we just saw an excellent example of the partisan lengths Conservatives will go to try and cover up for the fact that their leader refuses to take national security questions seriously. He has repeatedly refused offers by our national security agencies to give him the necessary clearances to be able to see the scope and breadth of threats to Canadians through foreign interference. He pretends to take issues of national security seriously, but it's only for partisan purposes, not for protecting Canadians. Shame on him.
Order. L'honorable député de Lachine-LaSalle.
The Honourable Member for Dorval, Lachine-LaSalle.
Mr. Speaker, the public inquiry into foreign interference has made clear that every member of this House has a responsibility to fight against foreign interference in Canada. This is especially true of party leaders. It is imperative that all leaders be equipped with the necessary security clearances and information so that they can make responsible decisions to protect our precious democracy. The Conservative leader refuses to do so. Can the Prime Minister shed light on why it is important to get such clearance? Thank you.
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Speaker, I thank the member for Dorval, Lachine, LaSalle. Canadians should be alarmed by the Conservative leader choosing to ignore risks to his own party and to our country. And his excuses have all been dismissed by nonpartisan national security experts. So if he has nothing to hide, what is he afraid of? Why won't he get his security clearances? Let me put these in terms that I think the Leader of the Opposition might actually understand. He needs to get the clearance, take the briefing, and protect the country.
The Honourable Member from Vancouver, Kingsway.
Mr. Speaker, the U.S. government has fined TD Bank over $3 billion after they pled guilty to money laundering charges. Wow. This case raises serious questions about federal oversight of Canadian banks and undermines our global reputation. Working Canadians have to play by the rules, but when banking executives put profits above the law, this government looks the other way. Exactly. What have the Liberals done to address the repeated criminal actions of TD Bank?
Yeah.
Good question.
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
We are, of course, very concerned by the actions of TD Bank in the United States. We make sure every single day that banks in Canada behave by following all the rules. We have continued to strengthen financial oversight, and we're making sure that there is full accountability for those responsible for this wrongdoing in the United States.
Hear, hear.
L'honorable député de Richmond.
The Honourable Member for Richmond North Athabasca. Mr. Speaker, I have a simple question that just requires a little bit of political action. When someone goes to Tim Hortons and buys half a dozen donuts, they don't have to pay for taxes. But if they instead buy 6 sugar-free health bars, they have to pay taxes. Because of this unfair rule, people are paying more for healthy products, and it also hurts our local businesses. They end up in an unfair fight against multinational companies. Despite many meetings and asking many questions in this House over the last 2 years, nothing has been done. Will the Prime Minister tell us if he will ask his Minister of Finance to do something about this situation? Please.
Le très honorable Premier ministre.
The Right Honourable Prime Minister. Mr. Speaker, I'd like to thank the member. I'd like to thank him for raising this issue. We have spoken about this issue within our government, and we will continue to study his proposal. It seems like a very common sense one, and we will continue to see if it's a good idea and move forward together. Thank you.
Comme il est 15h26.
As it is 3:27, the House will now proceed to the taking of deferred recorded division on the motion to concur in the 16th report of the Standing Committee on Finance. Call on the members.
Judy, are you staying or are you going? Go.
The question is as follows. Mr. Morantz, seconded by Mr. Elbas, moved that the 16th report of the Standing Committee on Finance, presented on Monday, February 26, 2024, be concurred in. The 10-minute period for members voting electronically has started. And the House will now proceed to the vote for members participating in person. All those in favour of the motion will please rise.
Ms. Ng.
Ms. Ng.
Monsieur Duclos.
Monsieur Duclos.
Monsieur Leblanc.
Monsieur Leblanc.
Ms. Tassi.
Ms. Tassi.
Ms. Sachs.
Ms. Sachs.
Ms. Sudds.
Ms. Sudds.
Ms. Jager.
Ms. Jager.
Ms. Murray.
Ms. Murray.
Mr. McGinty.
Mr. McGinty.
Mr. Scarpelli.